loves, and welcome to today's reading vlog. I am so excited to currently be packing for a trip out of town to see Dogstar in concert. If you're not familiar with the band Dogstar, you are probably familiar with their bassist, Keanu Reeves, best known for roles as John Wick, Johnny Silverhand, Johnny Utah, and many more characters not named John. And I decided that since this is such an exciting weekend that I would do a reading vlog themed around Keanu Reeves. I am bringing two books with me on this trip for my very long train rides. First is Johnny Mnemonic. Johnny Mnemonic is a movie starring Keanu Reeves as the titular character. It is based on a short story by William Gibson, who also wrote the Neuromancer series, very well known for pioneering the cyberpunk genre. So this is a novelization of the movie based on the short story, and Keanu Reeves is on the cover, so I thought this would be a perfect book to read on the train. If I finish that one, I am also going to be reading Cyberpunk 2077, No Coincidence. I first heard of Cyberpunk 2077 when Keanu Reeves walked on stage at the gaming conference and was absolutely breathtaking. So I ended up playing this game, not at launch, but when it did eventually go on sale on Steam, and absolutely fell in love with it. I am obsessed with Johnny Silverhand, Keanu Reeves' character in it, and I even have a little cyberpunk shrine in my background here. So I am very excited to read more of the adventures of Night City and see if Keanu Reeves' character ends up being mentioned in this. So come along with me as I go see Keanu Reeves. So the concert is tomorrow, and I am going to attempt to straighten my mane in preparation tonight. So while I'm doing that, I figured I would try and find an audiobook to listen to that fits the Keanu Reeves theme. So I googled Keanu Reeves books recommendations, and I found an Ask Me Anything post from Reddit from a couple years ago where Keanu Reeves actually answered about what some of his favorite books were. Most of the ones I couldn't find an audiobook for, but he did mention Philip K. Dick, who is actually one of my favorite authors, and I did find 4 different audiobooks from Philip K. Dick on Kobo Plus. Most of them are around an hour or so, so we'll see how long it takes me to do all this and how many audiobooks I can get through.
Prize Ship by Philip K. Dick. The story narrated by Phil Chenevert. Prize Ship by Philip K. Dick. This story was first published in Thrilling Wonder Stories, 1954.
So the hair is done, the nails just need some top coat, and then they'll also be done, and I just finished the 3rd short story from Philip K. Dick. The first one I read was Prize Ship. That one, the humans are battling this alien race, and they manage to steal one of the alien race's ships, and then when they got on it, they're not quite sure how it works, and they end up traveling to a world where everybody's really tiny and then a world where everybody's really big. And I rated that one a 4-star. I really liked the twist explanation at the end, and I think it was really well paced for the length that it was. The second short story I read was The Hanging Stranger. In this one, a man comes out of his basement after working on the foundation and he sees a body hanging in the town square. And he points this out to the next person he sees and they don't seem to care. He goes to the police and they also don't seem to care about this body that's hanging in the town. I also really liked this one. I also would rate it 4 stars. Again, the twist at the end I thought was really interesting. And it was also cyclical. I do like a book that ends at the beginning. I thought that one was really good. And then the last one I read was Here Lies the Wub, and that was the shortest of the 3. And I think it was the weakest because of that. I don't feel like it was long enough to really get going at all. So I think that one would be like a 2.5 for me. But read some Philip K. Dick, which is one of Keanu Reeves' favorite authors according to his AMA. And hair straight, nails done. I am ready for this concert tomorrow. So I am now checked into my hotel room, and on the train I got to page 208 in Johnny Mnemonic, which means I have about 35 pages left. I'm meeting a friend for dinner in about 2 hours, so I'm gonna try and get this done while eating my complimentary cookie, and hopefully I still have time to finish this, give you my thoughts, and also get my makeup done before I have to leave. Okay, so I finished Johnny Mnemonic and I have about 20 minutes before I have to leave, so I'm gonna have to do my makeup at the same time. So Johnny Mnemonic, the book that I read, is, as I mentioned in my intro, a novelization of a movie that's based on a short story by William Gibson. The book itself is by Terry Bison. I have seen both the movie and read the short story collection that includes Johnny Mnemonic, the original, and I think that the book ends up correcting some of the things that went wrong with the movie. The movie, for me, I think I rated it 3 stars on Letterboxd. It was okay, it wasn't the best. So the story of Johnny Mnemonic is Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Mnemonic. He is a courier. So what happens is information gets downloaded directly into his brain, and some images are used as like a passcode to download that information, and he ends up downloading way more information than what his brain can technically handle. And then they get attacked by the Yakuza, and the images needed to download and remove the information from his brain is destroyed. So he is trying to find a way to figure out what these images are to get the information off his brain before his brain melts down. The book is set in the same universe as the Sprawl trilogy, starting with Neuromancer, so there's a lot of concepts about cyberspace and the Matrix that you kind of need as context to fully understand the short story, in my opinion. And I find that with the movie, it was very hard to follow a lot of the world building, but with the book, because they could explain the technology and take the time to do that without taking you out of the action, it was a lot better done, in my opinion, and a lot better to follow. However, I thought that the action sequences weren't that well written, and that was something that the book didn't do as well as the movie, and I would recommend the movie if you're looking for action sequences. Are those even? Probably not. The book has better plot and world building. The movie has better action sequences. I just didn't find them very well described in the book. And then the flaw with both of them is the romance that develops over like, what, 48 hours between Johnny and Jane. So that really took me out of it. So my rating ended up being a 3.5. Like I said, world building was really strong. Plot was okay. The relationship kind of bumped it down a bit for me, as well as the writing on the action sequences. So that is Johnny Mnemonic, and I am going to finish up my makeup and head out to meet my friend for dinner. I'm so glad I spent so much time on my hair and makeup only to have to wait out in the rain for an hour to actually get into the venue. The next morning. Obviously my voice is a little different, a little fried from screaming last night. I am meeting a friend at 10 for brunch, and we have been throughout 2023 doing an online book club just between her and I, and since I was going to be in her city, we are going to do it in person for a change. And the book we are reading this time is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. It's a co-written one. It is a series of letters between rival space agents, essentially, who write notes back and forth throughout time. And I really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to see what my friend thought of that. I still have about an hour before I need to go check out. So in that time, I am going to start No Coincidence and hope that I don't fall asleep. That was a whirlwind of 36 hours from when I left my apartment to when I got back to my apartment. The concert was amazing. I have, among my friends, a very well-known hate for Toronto, and the experience of Lee's Palace was so good that I have downgraded my hate to Toronto to a mere dislike. The opener was Archer O, who I hadn't heard of prior to this, and they were so good. When I was 14 and watching Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, they were exactly the kind of music I thought that I would be going to see every weekend when I was in my 20s. That was a really good experience. And then of course, Dogstar. Keanu Reeves is a real person who exists and I have seen with these actual eyes. He played obviously music from their new album, but they also did some stuff from their original run in the 90s. And then also some new stuff, which I guess means that they are gonna release maybe a second album at some point. Amazing experience. No coincidence, I only got like 58 pages in. I spent the first half of the train trip still reeling, trying to comprehend that happened. Keanu Reeves, looking at the photos just to confirm that that was something I actually did and didn't just dream. And then I spent the second half of it absolutely exhausted because staying up until 1 a.m. and then getting up at 6 caught up with me. So I will finish this by the end of the month, but I'm not going to finish it in this vlog for brevity's sake. Johnny Mnemonic, 3.5. For Philip K. Dick, I would recommend reading The Hanging Stranger and Prize Ship in that order in terms of my preference. And then Beyond Lies the Wub was good, not as strong as the other two. Probably would have benefited from not reading them all back to back, so I didn't have the opportunity to compare and contrast them. So that is the end of my Keanu Reeves reading vlog. Leave down in the comments below what the best concert you've ever been to was, and I'll see y'all next time.